In one of the commentaries that I was looking at as I prepared my homily today, asked the question, if Jeremiah and Jesus lived today, would they have made it as TV evangelists? After a bit of thought, the answer was they wouldn't make it because they said too many things that people didn't like, and they could not survive. Jeremiah oftentimes spoke out against the evils of his society. The things that he said were not well appreciated. In the reading today, he is warning that the war that they are about to undertake cannot be successful. And it was not what the people wanted to hear, even though in fact it proved to be true. Jesus, of course, brings to us many words of consolation, but there were words of challenge as well. And some of the things he said were not very popular, and he was rejected. And the ultimate rejection, of course, was on Calvary. Many of us can remember some of the hellfire and damnation sermons that were delivered years ago. We've gotten away from that. Maybe there should be a little bit more of that today. Because we need to be questioned and challenged in our life. I recently spoke to a woman and she told me that she had stopped going to church. I think, as best I could figure out, she was one of those who did not go to church during the COVID thing and simply did not return. I spoke to a second woman, and she told me that she had rejected the Catholic faith. She could not believe much of what we taught. I told the first lady that I would pray for her, and she said, "Thank you, I need your prayers." The second lady I said the same thing to, and she had a very puzzled look on her face, like she didn't know how to respond. Should she say thank you, or should she say forget your prayers? It was hard to tell what her response was. But she had rejected the church and joined something else. You know, in the gospel today, Jesus says, households will be divided because of him. Now, the Gospel of Luke was probably written about 60 years after Jesus had ascended into heaven. And undoubtedly by that time, they had actually experienced divisions within households over Jesus. And the gospel writer could remember what Jesus had said, that this would come about. But you know, even today, there are divisions within families, among friends, about our relationship with Jesus Christ. I'm sure that many of you have experienced the pain of a loved one turning away from the church or simply stopping going to church. And it has concerned you, and it makes you feel uneasy. As a general rule, I don't think it is confrontational, although sometimes it is. But yet, there is a certain ill at ease, a discomfort among people. We're a little careful what we say because it might be construed as some sort of criticism. It's a painful thing, and I'm sure that many of you experience this difficulty. So what is the solution? If I knew the solution, we wouldn't have the problem. But I think myself, the first thing is to pray to pray for that person about whom we are concerned. And my guess is you're already doing that. But it's important to persevere in those prayers, to truly believe that God listens. And we may not get the result we want, but God is listening all the same. And we realize also that we have a deep love for that person. But as deep as our love is for that person, God's love for that person is even greater. And so we can confidently place that person in the hands of God, knowing that God will do whatever is best for that person. Beyond prayer, I also think we should concentrate on our own relationship with God, constantly trying to grow in that relationship. And somehow, maybe, that will touch someone else if we continue to grow in our relationship with Him. I want to conclude with a quote from St. Augustine. And what he says is, to fall in love with God is the greatest romance. To seek Him, the greatest adventure. To find Him, the greatest human achievement. Once more. To fall in love with God is the greatest romance. To seek Him, the greatest adventure. To find Him, the greatest human achievement.